Do you consider yourself a high achiever? Smart, driven, highly successful? I am so excited to have you. My name is Julia Arndt and I'm the host of the Stress Podcast. I will help you develop your stress resilience the same way you've developed your workplace superpowers. Learn peak performance tools to thrive at work and in your personal life. Let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to the Stress Podcast. I'm very, very excited to welcome our new guest to the show. And it's Edel Owens from Ireland. Hi, Edel. How are you today?
Hi, Julia. Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here.
Yes. I always ask this first question. My listeners know this by now. I always ask my guests, where are you from? What have you been up to today? And what time zone is it? Or what time is it?
Okay, so where I'm from is Ireland, the north of Ireland. I'm currently living in County Down, which, if anyone knows, is close to Belfast. What have I been doing today? I've been working on my master plan for life. I've been managing my new Facebook group, Perpetual Wellness with Adele, which is really good. And I've been preparing for my energy training, which I'm doing tonight. What was the last question, Julia?
What time is it right now in Ireland?
Oh, what time is it? Let me just check. Well, it's GMT and it is almost 4:20.
Okay, great. So tell us more about you, Edel. What are you doing? What have you been up to in the past? And how did you shift your focus to what you're doing today?
Yeah, well, I was a primary school teacher, so I think you say elementary school teacher in the USA for almost 15 years, which I really enjoyed. But I did find it stressful and my health used to be pretty poor. I used to suffer a lot with chest infections, throat infections, even kidney infections and things like that. And I could never really understand why, even though I was eating well, and trying to take good care of myself, why I still kept getting sick. And in the end, I realized it was a combination of things. It was, I wasn't looking after myself well enough. And I was working in a very stressful environment. And at that stage, I didn't really realize that the stress was manifesting itself in my physical body. And so, I taught for quite a while. Really enjoyed it. And then I think when my first child came along, I sort of came to a crossroads and thought, is this the way I want to live my life? Being stressed, being sick, not having the energy to have quality time with my children. So that sort of led me to a decision. I went back and I retrained to become a nutrition and health coach. And to be honest, I've never really looked back. I set up my own business. And I love health coaching. I find my purpose, my passion, and that thing when it's not like work, you're sort of living the dream. I do feel like I've completely found exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel like I'm in complete alignment. And yeah, that's sort of it in a nutshell.
Yeah. How long ago was that you started that nutrition certification?
Yeah, so I really sort of officially set up my business right before the pandemic hit. Mm-hmm. So some people would say, oh, bad timing. But, I think there's really been an awakening with people and their health. And so it wasn't bad timing. And to be honest, because I was here and I was home and I have 3 very young children and I was homeschooling, I really adapted my schedule then to obviously do what I had to do for them, but fit my business around their lives. And the thing about health coaching is that you can be very flexible. So not only do I love what I do, but it enables me to give my children quality time in the evenings or drop them off to school in the morning and then fit my work around them as well, which is really important to me in terms of what I do and how I live.
Yeah. And so, so I find that really interesting that you say that you really found your passion and that, you're not really looking back. How was that transition though? I would love you to talk a little bit more about, was it really that easy to just be like, okay, I'm doing this certification, I'm moving out of school, or what kind of was that process like of shifting from this 15-year experience to do something very...
That's a really good question, Julia, because it wasn't easy. I'm just going to be honest. And if I can reflect back, I mean, I did a lot of further study for my teaching. I went to master's degree level and really did a lot of, put in the hours for my teaching and really thought that I was doing the right thing. And I wanted to give value to my pupils as well. So I did further my education and all of that. But, I'm very lucky in that I've got a very supportive partner in my husband, Ryan. And in as much as I made the decision, he supported me. And I think when you are at a big crossroads like that, or a major junction in your life, it is important. And I would say for me, it was crucial that I had the support of Ryan. He really helped me to say, do you know what, you're not 100% happy in your teaching, you're stressed, you're constantly sick, what is the life that you choose and you want? And having his support really helped me sort of, bridge that knowing doing gap of being somewhere and wanting to be somewhere else. So that was really important. But as well as that, I think out of sort of disorder or chaos, if you like, has to come order. And that's what happened for me, is that I was at such a sort of stagnant period that only good could come from it. And when I made the decision, I locked into it. It was like, I made this decision now, I'm owning this decision. And even if it doesn't work out, I haven't failed. It will be a learning curve, but luckily it did work out. So I think that's, sort of how I overcame, the years of study, the government paid job, the reliable salary, the 2 months off in the summer. But the strange thing is that none of that matters now. I don't get 2 months off in the summer. I don't have the government salary, but yet I am 100% happier doing what I'm doing now than what I was doing before. And that's it.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. Amazing. So for people that are listening now and they don't maybe really know what a nutrition and health coach is doing, can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so nutrition and health coach, well, essentially what I do is the pillars of my business. Even though I'm a nutrition and health coach, I've split the pillars of my business into nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset. So they're my three focal areas, if you like, and the three areas that I'm really passionate about. And I've also done quite a lot of further study in mindset. So I feel like I have an experience to bring there as well. So what I do essentially is I help people who maybe are tired, who, they're not sure what to be eating or how to put things together to eat for wellness, what amount should they be eating, what time should they be eating, what are whole foods, for example, what's a processed food, what's a whole food, and how to navigate ingredients on a food stuff that you buy in the shop and you absolutely cannot understand it because it doesn't, it's hard to pronounce the ingredients, never mind, understand what they are. So I help people navigate their diet, help them put healthy meals together. Then we work on stress management. That's also a part of it. But underneath all of that is the mindset. So when people come to me, I give them lots of tools and strategies and powerful techniques to help them either up their energy, control the sort of work-life juggle, get a bit of balance into their life. But what I have found in my time coaching is that we are all controlled by what's going on in here. So I really help them, like we sort of go deep into why, for example, someone struggled with weight all of their life, why they get to a certain point and then they yo-yo back. Like, why is that? And for me, that's a paradigm, that's a mindset block. So I really help them shift those blocks. And then once they understand their behavior and why they're repeating these patterns, they then can implement the plans that I give them, the tips, the tricks, the tools, because in all honesty, as a coach, you can give your client every tool or every strategy, but if they don't understand why they are facing these struggles and how to overcome them, then the tools really aren't going to be effective. So, I think we talked about this, another time, Julia, but like, it really is 95% mindset and 5% strategy, in my opinion. So I went off on a bit of a rant there, but I hope I answered your question.
So interesting. And I think I resonate with that so much.
Yeah, essentially as a coach, I feel like it is my job to empower my client to be the best versions of themselves. And, I recommend things, but I don't make demands of my clients. Like, they very much lead the session, and as much as, yes, I am their guide, they bring themselves to wellness, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it really resonates with me. I'm really glad that you said that, because I think the behavior is the most important thing when it comes to anything, right? Nutrition, physical well-being, mental well-being. Do you have maybe a specific example of a person that you've been working with, just for people to maybe understand a little bit better, even like what maybe they might be facing, and maybe something that you're seeing on a regular basis that people are struggling with, and how you help them out of that mindset into something more helpful?
Yeah, one person actually just pops into my head straight away. One of my clients called Claire. So Claire is a mum in business. She has got young children. She's a leader in her field. She's, very much in the sort of cutting edge of what she does. So when Claire came to me, she had this, I suppose, way of living where, 5 or 6 o'clock would come, and normally that is the close of business for, someone who starts work at 9 o'clock in the day or whatever. But what she was finding was, okay, she would close her laptop off, she would go get dinner for the kids, get herself sorted, whatever. But then that compulsion to log back on to do effectively another day's work in the evening time, that was one thing that she was really struggling with. And I know that's not nutrition based, but that's very much a lifestyle thing. So I'll tell you how I helped her with that in a second. In terms of her diet, she just felt like she was overeating, especially now working from home, reaching for the high sugar, high salt snacks, because let's face it, if you're working at home, your kitchen is right there. It's very hard to avoid, reaching for the convenience food when you're doing back-to-back meetings and you really don't have time to make a healthy meal. As well as that, because her job obviously is online at the moment, she was just feeling really sedentary, really sluggish, and actually was starting to get aches and pains in her joints from lack of movement, and I think those 3 things are probably things that a lot of people are struggling with at the moment. So, like, in terms of that close off of the day, I got Claire to a point where 5 p.m. was shut down and no going back. And that was a real psychological shift. So what we had to do there was we really had to, Claire really had to give herself permission to say, my work finishes at 5, the rest of the evening is for me. And so really there we worked on confidence and self-belief and personal nourishment, because let's face it, if you don't psychologically close off from your workday, there is no time for rest, there is no time for relaxation, there is no time to allow you to think clearly and thus be more creative for the next day. And let's face it, if you're a high performance employee, you need to be able to bring creativity to what you're doing. And as luck would have it, she was also a transformation lead, so she really had to be at the top of her game. And it's very difficult to transform an area of business or transform a team if you're not in that creative zone yourself. So we worked really hard on that, working on paradigms, working on mindset blocks, working on just that ability to say, yes, it is okay for me to close my laptop. We went through her schedule. We really refined where there were good times for her to, take a little movement break, or a time where it was just for her to do urgent tasks that maybe, she wasn't scheduling, things like that. So that was very much a sort of a work-life balance one. Then in terms of her diet, what we did was we did a plan for low carb meals. And again, in my coaching, I'm not restrictive, and I don't believe in restricting people and what they eat. So we designed meals that she enjoyed, and also that she could eat with her family, so that she didn't feel like she had to make separate meals for herself and her children, her partner. And then the fitness thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any qualifications in the area of fitness or anything, but it's not difficult to empower somebody to move more, and I'm very passionate about keeping fit myself, and I do bring that into my coaching. So again, it was a scheduling thing. We just scheduled lots of movement breaks. We scheduled in hits, every single day. So we actually, before I finish, I'll just tell you, we actually had a plan, and the plan was a really simple checklist, and it had 6 things on it, I think. So the first one was morning gratitude, to keep your energy up, keep you in a good vibration. Second was 2 liters of water every day. Okay, so a water diet, keep you hydrated, keep your energy up. The next thing was your 3 lower carb meals. Doesn't mean no carbs, just lower carbs. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if that was the way that she ate, not necessarily the way everybody eats. Then we had 15-minute HIIT session. Okay, so even, on days when you're really, really busy, you can generally manage 15 minutes. And for me in my coaching, it's very much about incremental, intentional, micro changes, as opposed to setting the bar really high. Because what I find is, if you set the bar really high, the bad day comes along, and then you have the spiral back to the beginning. So that's always really important. What else do we have on that checklist before I finish? Oh yes, a winding Uedo, an eating window, excuse me. So time restricted feeding. Okay, sorry, I got a bit tongue tied there. So her time restricted feeding times were just a 12-hour feeding window. She would have breakfast at 7, and then all of her meals would be finished by 7. So then that allows time for digestion and everything. I think that was it, but she stuck rigidly to that plan. And I mean, her transformation was amazing. And really it was just sort of simplifying everything right down. I needed a window into her life and her schedule and all of these things to be able to help her. But once I understood what she needed, and obviously we worked on the mindset, and then we gave the strategy, then, boom, it went really well. So that's one example of a client that I've helped.
Really amazing. That's great. Yeah, I think it's so, it always sounds so simple, right, when you hear that, but it's we all know, we all have our own demons and the thoughts that we have in our heads, and just the habits that we create and that we think are normal. And I think it's really powerful to work with someone and to just kind of get that reflection, even to be like, oh, this is what I'm doing. Right. I'm even thinking about a client of mine as well, that I've been coaching for almost 2 years now. An executive, and he has just this habit of having a few drinks in the evening with his wife, and he's been really working on this as well, because he always says, well, I'm drinking, I have 2 or 3 drinks in the evening, but then because of that I feel like snacking more, because like with a drink comes like a nice snack, and then with the snack comes like sitting in front of the TV and going to bed late, and then not feeling really rested the next morning, and it's just kind of the spiral, right? And so I feel like, you know, this can be translated in so many forms and ways, and it's always really just important to create awareness first and be mindful of, okay, is this actually really supporting my...
And it's interesting that you say, you know, sometimes people don't realize until they hear themselves say it, that, oh, the light bulb goes off. And I've seen that so many times with my clients, that it is not until they articulate, you know, what the problem is, and then, oh, well, you know, I understand now. You know, you almost see the light bulb going off beside their head, and it's amazing, you know, the power of actually conversing with someone and talking things through, you know, is so therapeutic in itself. And quite often, I don't know if you find this as well, Julia, but, you know, your clients end up solving their own problems, and then you can guide them to the best strategy or the best technique then to use to obviously get them to the next level.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's what coaches at the end of the day are about, right? We're not there to tell, we're there to guide and to just reflect back on those light bulb moments that they have. And, you know, I think it's been an interesting process for me as a coach, because since I've been coaching, I've also taken a lot more help from therapists and healers, and, you know, like all different kinds of people. I think just the experience in itself is always really interesting, but yeah, I feel like when you are in that work, but then you also receive it, it's even more so. Like so many light bulb moments for me where I'm like, oh, they are doing that part, and that's so powerful for me. So how can I bring that back to my clients as well?
I think it really makes you value the holistic approach, you know, that you're not just your physical body, you know, there's so much more, you know, and I think a lot of the struggles that we have or our clients have are directly related to self-image, you know. So if for example, you've always had a self-image of yourself that is, you know, I'm the overweight person, or I'm the person who's always late for work, or I'm the person, you know, who earns X amount, or I'm the person who's not quite so good at, I don't know, you know, maths, accounting, whatever, you know, those are the paradigms really, you know, I think at the heart of a lot of struggles, a lot of health struggles, you know, diet, you know, fitness, anything. But once you can sort of go deep and really help your client with that, I just think the world then becomes their oyster, you know?
Yeah. And so, you know, I actually want to go back to your story for a second. I have one more question that I'm burning to ask you, because I get that question from time to time as well. Do you feel like if you would have made maybe the right lifestyle changes, that the work that you were in before would have been, like, you would have been able to manage that as well, and you would have found happiness in it? Or was it more, like, how do you connect that? Because, you know, people always ask me, or did you have to leave Google in order to like move away from burnout and have a happier life, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, I was a good bit younger, obviously, when I started teaching. I was in my 20s. Being, you know, truly healthy and well was not always on my radar. I will be completely honest. You know, I had a great social life. I was out a lot. I enjoyed myself. So there's that side of things. But then, you know, there's also the combination of that and a very stressful job. So if I didn't have the sort of maybe, you know, very active social life, and, you know, I was eating better and I was taking better care of myself, maybe the stress wouldn't have been so bad or have manifested itself so much in my physical body. But even in saying that, I think because I wasn't totally where I needed to be, I think that stress was always going to be there in some shape or form. And And it was sort of a stress within myself as opposed to any external factor. And what I mean by that is, if you're in a job or if you're in a situation, whatever it may be, that you're not 100% happy in, I think there's always going to be a level of maybe anxiety or worry or stress or just, dis-ease, unhappiness. And the thing about being, in any sort of dis-ease, that in itself is dangerous, because that leads to you suppressing emotions, suppressing your real desires, of what you really want to be and how you want to show up in your life. So like for me, I know what you're saying, could I have managed it better? Yes, I certainly could have. If I was taking really good care of myself, I could have. But even in the longer term, if I was to put myself in the classroom right now doing that job, I just know I wouldn't be as happy as I am now. And, stress and happiness are so inextricably linked. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a double-edged thing. So on the one hand, I'm saying, yes, I could have managed my stress better. But on the other hand, I think it would always have been there in the background, because, deep down in my heart, I just wasn't where I was supposed to be. And I think that was causing part of the stress as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's a really good summary. And I think maybe what to take away from this is to look at it. And I think I work with people that are really burnt out, that love their job, right? And they just don't have the right tools and the right things in place in order to manage that job. And I do work with people that have maybe more that combination of stress and not like feeling fully fulfilled in what they're doing. And then sometimes there needs to be that personal choice and decision of what's next, right? But I think you can't just say, oh, because you're burned out, it's not the right job for you. It's, it's a really personal, it's a personal path of what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, if you're passionate about your work, but stress is getting in the way, then that's different. For me, it was, I enjoyed my work, don't get me wrong, and it was a fantastic learning journey, but I just knew deep down that I wasn't where I was supposed to be. So stress was maybe coming at me from a different angle, from a very inner place,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I really resonate with that. Do you have any books, because you talked about mindset and because you said that's something that really fascinates you. Do you have any books or any things that really inspired you, that really changed your life?
Yeah, gosh, if I can remember all the names of them now. Psycho-Cybernetics is a really good one. Maltz is the surname. I think it's M. Maltz. I can't remember his first name, but it's very good. It goes into self-image, and it really, the author of the book was a plastic surgeon, actually, who discovered that even when he had performed plastic surgeries, that the change he would have expected in his clients, or in his patients, rather, didn't always match their new identity. So what he discovered was, you can change someone physically, or they can change themselves physically, but until their self-image catches up to meet this new physical image, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to feel any better. And it's just powerful. It's a powerful book. So I would highly recommend that. I'm crazy about Bob Proctor. I just love Bob Proctor. All of his mindset stuff, Born to be Rich, or Get Rich or Die Trying. I can't remember if that's Bob Proctor or not, but yeah, I love Bob Proctor. What else? Let me think. Wallace D. Wattles has a really good book, if I can remember the name of it now. You Were Born Rich, I think it's called. I'm getting confused between them now, but anyway, Wallace D. Wattles.
Maybe you can send me a list and I'll just put it in the show notes.
There's loads of really, really good mindset books. And I actually read them every night before bed. I read a little bit of mindset every night to help my own mindset, and then obviously bring it to my clients. So
Is there you already said you have your 3 pillars, right? Mindset, lifestyle, nutrition. If someone is listening now and they're like, oh yeah, there's definitely something I can work on there. Is there maybe one thing, one question, or something that you can give them where they can start?
A question they can ask themselves, or well, I think the ultimate question, or it's like that higher aspirational thing, is like, what do you really want? What is it that you want? And then make a decision to go and get it. It's really as simple as that. And I know in my coaching, I can 100% help people to get what they want, as I'm sure you can, Julia. It's a process. It certainly doesn't happen overnight, but once you figure out the change that you want to make and where you want to go to, once the decision is made, you are 51% of the way there. And after that, everything will fall into place.
Yeah, because as simple as the question is, I know that a lot of people would probably be like, I don't really know what I really want. No?
Yeah, and that's quite often, that's the hard thing. That's the hard part. And that's where you go away and you write down your shopping list. You write down everything that you want. And then, if there's something that keeps coming up, or, you could write your shopping list, but you could also write your struggles. Like, what are the things that you've been struggling with for so many years? They're chronic. They've almost become part of your life. Like, you don't have to live that way. You can live a healthy, fulfilled life, regardless of who you are, what you do, where you live, what your situation is. You can live a healthy, fulfilled life and live the life that, is your aspiration, is the life that you aspire to living to. So, for me, the ultimate question really is, what is it? What is that one thing that you want? Is it more time with your children? Is it, you want to be a size 10? UK size. I'm not sure what American sizes are.
I think it's very big in American size.
Is it that you want to be fitter, toner, leaner? Is it that you want to have more confidence? You decide. And the beauty about that is you get to choose. It's your decision. And then you go find someone that can help you get there, or you help yourself to get there.
Yeah, that's great. Edel, how can people reach out to you if they have questions or if they would like to start working with you?
Yeah, so I've recently rebranded, actually, and my new business name is Perpetual Wellness with Adele. So if you want to look me up on Facebook, it's facebook.com/groups/perpetual wellness. I do have my website. My website is in the middle of being updated, so you can find me at Health Edel, HEALTH. EDEL, healthedel.com. You can email me, healthedel@gmail. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I've actually got an Instagram page. It's called Health Edel's Kitchen. And that's where I just post lots of images of foods that I do and make at home, and quick little recipes and things like that. But yeah, I'm everywhere.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely make sure to link all of the contact information in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's all of the things we talked about today really resonate with me, and I hope people understand and feel inspired that they can really take that own change into their own hands, and that nutrition is so closely linked with stress management and with mindset and with all of the different things that we talk about in the podcast all the time. So thank you so much for being here, Adele. I really enjoyed listening to you, and I wish you all the best with your business.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so nice to visit you, or e-visit you from Ireland, Julia. Thank you. Have a great day.